Come on down, step right in. Carole's Kitchen, where we begin. See what's cooking, something new. Plant-based power just for you. Delicious meals on every plate. Healthy choices, feeling great. Inspiration in every dish. Taste the magic, it's our wish. Power to the plants we sing. Health for you, it's everything. Cooking up a storm and bear. Carol's Kitchen, love and care. Education one bite at a time. Nourishing the heart and mind. Join the journey, let's unite. Pure plant power feels so right. Power to the plants we sing. Health for you, it's everything. Cooking up a storm and bear. Carol's Kitchen, love and care.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our monthly show, Cooking with Chef Carole. I hope you're enjoying the theme song as much as I am. I find myself dancing in the background. A friend of Carole's actually created that song, and I gotta say, I love it. Anyway, welcome. It's November. We are sponsored by Plant Powered Metro New York and co-sponsored by the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan. And welcome in particular to the Jumpstart participants who are joining us on this Sunday. We're really delighted to have you here. So I think ahead is some amazing information. And let's see, I'm just reading for a moment from the script. Yeah, it's good information about to come forward. This was for the Jumpstart people. So Plant Powered Metro New York empowers people to achieve better health and overcome chronic disease through a whole food, plant-based approach to nutrition. We offer evidence-based education, resources, and a grassroots network of support to create community and inspire change. And together as leaders, organizers, and educators, we raise awareness about the dramatic health benefits of whole food plant-based nutrition. We empower individuals to make their own lifestyle changes, and we lead projects that spark change in food policy, practice, and food culture. And there's one thing I want to add that is just for me, why I keep doing this. It's because of connection, empowering all of us to have a better connection with food and better connection with our health, and then better connection with each other. So welcome to all of those who are now connecting with us here and now part of our web and network. So it's November in the Northeast. We're seeing so many squashes at the farmers market, and cauliflowers, white and orange and green, actually Romanesque cauliflower, and purple, and eggplants, and all kinds of radishes. And so the autumn vegetables seem just out in full flourish. So I hope that all of you are enjoying the markets as much as I am. And as always, we encourage you to buy locally and to eat organic. And if you can find vegetables or fruits that are grown in a regenerative farm, that's even better than the organic label. So let's see, quick announcements on upcoming events. You should be able to see on your screen a whole host of events that are taking place in person. For those of you online, Plant Powered Metro, yes, offers these free online classes, but we actually do an enormous amount with communities and with supporting partners in other parts of Manhattan. And so do go onto the website, or on the screen you can see some of the in-person events here. I know that there's several in Astoria. There's going to be one hosted out in Long Island in Port Jefferson, a little town that's quite close to my heart. There is a diabetes program that's going to be taking place in the Bronx, and then we're going to have in-person cooking demos on how to prepare food for those who are suffering with diabetes, and a number of other programs this month throughout the whole, not just in New York City, but the whole metro area, including Long Island, New Jersey, various different places, Queens and Astoria, other places. So please check out the website. And then the big announcement is that coming up December 1st is our, drum roll, Plantathon. So Plantathon has been going on for nearly 7 years. Plant Powered Metro has led this as a regional movement for health, empowering our diverse residents in the New York area and everywhere. It's an online event to achieve the health we deserve through plant-based nutrition. And we're hosting our 4th annual Plantathon celebration. And the point of Plantathon, I'm going to give you a pitch right here, right now, is to raise essential funds to achieve our mission of community health and transformation. And as the years have gone on and are moving forward, we're realizing that our sense of community is not just New York based. I know many of you are, as I said, writing in from elsewhere in the country, and we have communities in other places in the country like Florida and Texas and Colorado that are interested in modeling their communities off of what we're doing here. So we're really hopeful to keep spreading the word. The connection and the community is really what makes this work magical. So we're encouraging you to please donate this year, whether now, whether on Plantathon, or whether before the end of the year. Every single dollar really counts. And we really are a network of volunteers more than anything. We've a tiny, tiny staff. So everything really goes directly, or most things go directly to the events. Quick note on Plantathon, our very first day will be with, first night will be with Chef AJ. What is Plantathon? It's an event online. It'll start Monday through Friday at 7:30 p.m. online, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, probably run anywhere from an hour, hour and a half. We have a number of guests that are lined up. Our very own stars from Plant Powered Metro will be hosting. That's James Spellos, who you've often seen in the Heart to Healthy Heart series, and he's with us today on the cooking show, just more behind the scenes. Liana, of course, our co-founder with Lynn Diamond, Liana will be hosting, and Ifra, who is our Spanish-speaking person doing a Spanish-speaking chunk on Wednesday night, and IFA runs the Spanish-speaking Jumpstarts. So the three of them will be hosting, and then our cooking show on December 7th will also be part of Plantathon, and Carol and I will be there on Sunday. The weekend will be the replays, and then we have another night on Monday the 8th with Dr. Will Bulswitz. So that's quite a mouthful, but just go online. You'll see everything listed there. It's many of the pioneers in the movement, and then also other doctors and other health professionals who will be part of the evening shows Monday, December 1st through Monday, December 8th. Okay, that's it. Please join us on Plantathon. So guidelines, please let us know where you're from in the chat. Please ask questions in the chat. Carol and I usually interact enough that we can throw in a question during the show. And if not, we'll save some time at the end to answer as many questions as we can. And if you're enjoying the presentation, please like us on Facebook or on YouTube. And Carol, I'm going to skip the fun facts because we already know that pomegranates and persimmons are super healthy fruits and vegetables, but I've spoken enough. And so on with the menu. What's on the menu today?
So much information, Wendy. It's overwhelming to me a little bit. It's overwhelming, all the things that are happening. It's just like
we're bursting.
It's
Yeah.
just like one thing after another. It's incredible. Welcome. Today is November, and we're in November already, and the year's gone so fast. And usually in November, I really like to share with you some kind of holiday food. Maybe some of you are first time, going into the holidays without the turkey, without the without the all the things that maybe you're used to. And so I did look back. We've been doing the show for 5 years, and I realized that I feel like I've done so many things already. So today's focus is about one, finishing off my garden from the summer. I'm trying to just kind of close down things and get rid of the things that have been with me all summer long. So that's part of today's. And then the items that we're making are not necessarily Thanksgiving food today, but it's things that you could take to a holiday party, whether it's Thanksgiving, whether it's Christmas, or whether it's just an office party. So I thought that that would be fun. And we're using a lot of winter items today, and they're all so colorful that you have to think about how we eat the rainbow all the time, because everything is so beautiful. We're going to have persimmons, we're going to have pomegranates, we're having squash, we're having pears, so I want to get started because we're already into the show and I don't want to lose any minutes. So the very first thing is we're going to start with a soup. And this soup I love very much. And I always preface when I make any soup that I shout out to Deborah Madison, who has always been for decades of my life. I mean, since in my 20s, was teaching me in her books basically how to make soup and also how to use and make your own stock. I really learned that, and we talk a lot about stock or broth, either one. The words are somewhat interchangeable, and we talk about them. And today is a perfect example of whatever is going in the soup is going to be our broth for the soup. And that is a very Deborah Madison thing, to use whatever's in the soup to make the stock from that. So before we start, I've gotten a little jump start, and I should show you why I've gotten a jump start, and then we'll kind of we'll go back to the squash, but I want to show you what's in the oven first. So I do have the oven preheated at 425 degrees, and that's a very hot oven. And on a sheet pan with parchment paper, I chopped up a couple squashes actually, but the yield was 1 pound, and I just chunked them up into approximately 1 inch pieces. I also cut a big onion, a yellow onion, and I cut that into pieces. And then I peeled 2 pears, and I took out their seeds and I took out their stem from the middle, and I just cut them up, and I put everything on a sheet pan, and then I squeezed a half of orange juice, half an orange. So I just cut an orange in half and I squeezed it. Now, normally, maybe if you are new to us, maybe in the past you would roast your vegetables with lots of oil. Well, we're not using any oil in our foods today, or any time when we're presenting the show. And the juice helps keep everything moist. If you didn't have an orange, you could just use water. Really, just a big couple splashes of water would be just fine in the oven. You just don't want things drying out. So I'm going to show you. This has probably been in the oven for almost 25 minutes. Okay. So it's very simple what I'm showing you. It's a tray of the squash, the pears, and the onions. And they're all roasting. I've been moving them around a little bit. And why do we want to roast the vegetables? It just gives the soup extra flavor. Now, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do the roasting, but I encourage you to do it only because you're building flavor. Okay, so that's one thing. So that's in the oven maybe for maybe 5 or 10 more minutes, and we are going to eventually get it out and put it into a stock pot with the broth. Now let's just talk about the broth very quickly. I'll put a pan here, a pad here, and I set up a bowl and a strainer, and I'm just going to put this in the sink so that when I carefully pour it, you'll see that everything gets sifted out. But when I was peeling everything, meaning I had to peel the onion, I had to peel the pear, I had to clean out the pumpkin, because the pumpkin inside the squash has seeds. Well, everything, even I had to peel some ginger. Everything went in here. All of the peels of everything, onions, and even the seeds are in here. And I don't know if you can see it, but I'll try to bring it close to you so you can see it. But basically now what I'm going to do is take this to the sink, and it's all going to go through the colander, and all the solids are going to be collected. And we're going to end up with what is a stock or broth for this very, very soup. Okay. And all of this will ultimately, oh my gosh, if you see the color, you're going to love it. And I see that I got a few seeds are still in there. And if I had the energy, honestly, I would press some of this out, because there's probably still some juice in there. And if you could just kind of press it out with the back of a wooden spoon. And let me just get a spoon. Where is my good tool to, this isn't quite what I want, but I let some of the squash go in. But I'm going to show you the color of this, because you won't believe how beautiful it is. The color is like an autumn brown. It's like, see how pretty that is?
Wow.
And that is going to be your stock. Now, of course, we can taste it. I know it's delicious, but it's always good to taste it. It has no pepper, no salt. It's just everything that we peeled. That's all it is. And that is delicious, and it tastes like the soup already. That's what the soup is going to taste like, just like what this tastes like. So this is just going to go on the side for now. And we're going to, I'm going to show you, I never start this way, but I want to garnish the soup later. And I thought maybe if this would be a little lesson for everyone, is that I like to put a pear in the garnish. And so I don't know if anyone does this, but I'm a little obsessive when the pears come out, that in the morning time, when I eat my oatmeal, I really like caramelized pears in my oatmeal. Now you're wondering, how did I get from cooking soup to oatmeal? Well, we're going to have a pear as a garnish in the soup. And I thought it'd be really just fun to take a very few moments to show you how to actually caramelize the pear. So I have a skillet on the stove. It's my small 7-inch ozeri pan. It's a ceramic pan. And I've cut the pear, as you can see. I hope you can see. Maybe I better move the squash. I cut the pear into quarters, and now I'm just going to cut them into like big 1/4 inch chunks. Some can be two, you get 3 segments out. But all I want to show you, it's just the simplest thing, and you might just not know about doing this, but I often do it so that I have nice, pretty pears on top of my oatmeal. But today, these pears are going to be nice, pretty pears for the soup. And we're just putting them in here. The pan is dry, okay? And you want them to all be kind of in one layer when you do this, okay? Like this. Wendy, did we ever do this together when we ate breakfast? I don't think so.
No, but it's bringing back amazing memories of oatmeal, pear, and ginger,
Oh
as
my God.
opposed to oatmeal, apple, and cinnamon. And like you, when after a while I get tired of the apples, and so I do pear and ginger as an alternative to apples and cinnamon, and they're so good.
They're so good. This totally transitions me to be forgetting about the raspberries and the blueberries,
Yeah.
even though I still want them so much that they're not really in season. And
Yeah.
this caramelization really helps me think, oh my God, pears are the most delicious thing, and we're going
So,
to be eating them every day this year, this winter.
yeah.
So what I just did was, you can see I have them in a flat thing. I sprinkled just a teeny bit of cinnamon on it. Sometimes I do nutmeg too. You don't have to do it. You can do it. It's up to you. If it was in your oatmeal, it'd be delicious. It's going to be beautiful in the soup. And then I'm going to put just a little teeny bit of water. Just kind of how we water broth, when we're sauteing our onions without the oil. We always talk about sauteing with water or broth. Well, that's basically what we're doing here. We're kind of steaming. We're not quite steaming. We don't have a lot of water. The water's getting evaporated. I don't want to move those around too much. I want them to start to get brown on one side, but I also don't want the pan to get too dry. So I'm keep putting a little bit of water, and then eventually I'm going to flip them. Okay. So you understand what's happening here. This is just going to be for our garnish. It's a little lesson in how to caramelize a pear without any kind of butter or oil. And I think it's a good one. And I can just flip it over to see what's happening. But you do want it to move around a little bit. But I'm trying again to just, you put the littlest amount of water, okay, the littlest amount. And I'm going to, in the meantime, while that is happening, I'm getting our stock pot here. That's what we're going to, and I'm going to turn off the oven, and I'm going to bring out the vegetables, the ones that I've been roasting. Now, of course, my little girl here is wagging her tail. I don't know, I thought she was sleeping, but she's not so sleeping. Now, the one good thing is I'm going to show you this here, and we're going to get this little spatula, is we want to get these so that they're not stuck to the brown paper, to the parchment, okay? But you see, they're roasted. They're pretty almost done. The vegetables are almost done. You could eat these without even making soup. Okay, I'm doing a little balancing act here. I don't know if I would recommend this for anybody, but we're going to get this all loose. And the juice of the orange really help keep things moist. And I know I said this earlier, but I'm just reminding you, if you didn't have a juice, you could just use water. Okay, so I'm going to free myself from this pan, and I'm going to put this paper, and we're just going to let this go right in here. Oh, and the pear is smelling so good, and it's getting dry in there, so I better add a little bit more water. Okay, and this looks amazing and delicious. And we can't forget to add our ginger. We haven't added the ginger yet to this mixture. Okay, so this is now clean. And this really does become like garbage. Maybe one could compost it. I'm not sure, but I think they could. And I'm going to use this spatula here to just flip our little pepper. Oh my gosh, they're looking really good. They're starting to brown. You have to keep them in the pan to cook them. Okay, and they're starting to get brown. Can you see that they're getting brown? And they're looking quite beautiful. It does take a few minutes, but you have to remember that we're not adding any sugar, okay, to this at all. We're just letting the natural juices of the pear, the natural sugars, to come out while it's cooking, and that's what's browning it. If you wanted, and you maybe soak some medjool dates, and you have that water, you certainly could use that water as a way of sauteing these. That would be a very good idea, to add a little sweetness if you wanted that way. But I'm just saying it doesn't need it, okay? That's really important. It doesn't need it. These are done, and I'm just going to take them off and put them on a plate for later for garnishing, okay? You can brown them as much as you want. I do think that the my little gas oven works. My gas stove top works a little better at browning,
Beautiful.
but they're beautiful and
Yeah.
they're perfect. They're cooked, and you can. I eat one whole pear on the after oatmeal, like, but we're just gonna use one pear slice in our garnish. So
Carol, I'm sure this is in the recipe, but can you just list the different squashes you have in the pot?
yes, I'm going to tell you about that right this minute because we haven't gotten quite there yet.
Yep.
Let's just put this here. In the recipe, I say that you can use any winter squash. Most common is a butternut squash. We had that last demo when we did our, was it last demo or maybe the demo before? When we made the Three Sisters soup, it's the tall one that has a shape like a pear. Today, I actually, I'm one of those people that just buys squash after squash. Every time I go to the store, I think that I buy too many squashes. But today I bought one that I had never seen before that looked just like a butternut squash, but it has all these corrugated, and on the label it said cogonut. Koginut. But it certainly looked like a butternut squash to me. It just wasn't totally smooth. It had ridges. So I opened this one and I used half of one. And I'll probably, sometimes these are very difficult, these ones that have these ridges, to actually peel without taking away too much of the flesh inside. So I think for this one now, I'm going to end up just putting a little orange juice on it eventually, putting it on parchment, putting it upside down and cooking it, and then scraping out the squash. That would work too for the soup. You don't have to do cubes. You could just cut a squash in half. It's certainly easier once the squash is cooked to scrape it all out. Just at some point, you just want to know that you have roughly a pound of squash.
Right.
Okay, so
I think those might be a little bit sweeter, if I'm not mistaken. I remember asking the gentleman at the farmer's market about it, but they might be a tiny bit sweeter than butternut. I'm not sure. Anyway.
yeah, it's the first time that I've seen that kind, and I wasn't sure, but I did. The label, I'm reading it literally, says velvety, rich, and nutty. That's the label. Then there are these wonderful ones that also look like a baby butternut squash that are literally called honey nut. And they are lovely, and these would be great to stuff. I'm just gonna literally cut it in half while I'm talking to you, because this would be a good one to stuff if you were like wanting to have a stuffing at Thanksgiving or any time of the year, because it's just adorable in size, and that's what it looks like. Okay, so I used one of these in our soup with a half of that to get a pound of cut up. And then you want to definitely take out those seeds. So that's that. Another squash. I mean, oh, maybe we could have a whole show on just squash, but this is very good delicata squash,
Love
which
those.
is really, really, it's true to its name, delicate, and you can eat this skin. So this is, you just have to cut it, maybe make some kind of crescents, cut it ½ inch thick, take out the seeds first, actually, before you go cutting it into slices. Bake it just like we did in the oven, and then it's delicious on kale salad or anything, any kind of hearty green would be, it's delicious. So we can't get carried away here on just talking about that. Otherwise, we'll get lost in ourselves. I have ginger, and we need ginger for this soup, and we need about 1 inch of ginger. And let's just cut this ginger. I always have my ginger in a small container in the refrigerator like this. I'm always losing it in a bag, or I don't know. It's just better, I've learned now, to put it into container, and that way I know exactly where all the ginger pieces are, and they're not floating around in my refrigerator. Now, we have gone over this numerous times. You're seeing me peel it right now with a knife. You can take the back of a teaspoon or a measuring spoon and you literally can scrape it. Okay? Literally scrape it. Now I put, whoops, and then you could like let it drop on the floor, but you don't really want to do that. Um, but you can use these scrapings, these peels. You can use it in some hot ginger tea with lemon and hot water. I think
By the
it's so.
way, Carol, ginger, fresh ginger, at least in the New York farmers markets, were just prolific. Almost every booth was having these beautiful
Oh, I
stems
love
of
when,
fresh
yes, and
ginger.
they're big and pinkish kind of looking, right?
Yeah, they're wonderful.
So
And
these peels again are very valuable. If you've washed your ginger before, you could put this in hot water and make a delicious tea. These peels I used in my broth earlier. So the broth that I have is already very gingery. And then I'm just gonna get a microplane here, and I have more than an inch, but I'm just going to grate this and it's going to go into the soup. So this soup has just basically just a few ingredients. It has the the squash of any kind, could be kabocha, could be acorn, could be butternut, doesn't matter. Has the two pears, has the onion, and it's going to have all this ginger in it. Fresh ginger, not powdered ginger, but fresh. And this is very good for you, this ginger. So I have had a little more than I needed. And I'm just going to, and you could also chop it up with your knife too. Sometimes when I have to do a lot of ginger, I actually put it right into the food processor and let the machine do it. But you do want, but this soup is going to get pureed. So I'm okay with having a few little chunks. It's okay. Okay, so then that, all that vegetables in there. I'm going to come here and I said that we need about 6 to 8 cups of broth. I might not have quite enough here. I'm not even going to measure it. If it needs more liquid, we'll just add some water. But we're definitely going to use all this. So I'm just going to pour it in. I'm doing it a little slowly because I think I might have left a few little, I don't know, seeds or something, just in case something didn't get caught. There. Yeah, I see a few little seeds that just kind of went overboard when I was, and that's okay. And I put the seeds, I was very lazy, Wendy, and just put the seeds and all the inner part of the squash in here. But if you want to take the time, boy, I used to do with my mom when I was a kid, where you would take all the pumpkin seeds and then you would rinse and rinse and rinse so that they were away from their stringy core. And then you would toast them and you would have pumpkin seeds,
exactly.
right? Did
Also,
you do that too, Wendy? Did you do that
I
growing up?
don't, you know me, I don't usually have the patience to do all that. I tend to be cooking usually in a New York moment. So,
I don't have the patience for it either. That's why I went in the broth. Like I thought, oh, there are those valuable seeds, but they're just going to go right into the broth.
I
Yeah,
think it's great. By the way, just for the audience, these are the fresh ginger that I got this morning at
oh,
the
it's
farmer's
beautiful,
market.
Wendy.
And you can see that they're on stems, and then this, had a almost like it kind of looked like the way they do Brussels sprouts, But anyway, this is what fresh ginger looks like, and
It's
it's just
beautiful.
delicious, really, really fragrant.
I'm coming over for a cup of tea. I'm
Please,
excited. I'm just, I just want to show you that I scrape out the squash and the pumpkin seeds like this, and then then it kind of makes a mess, and I peel it too. So, like I said, the squash, the big one that wasn't smooth is kind of a little bit of a pain, but this is easy because it's smooth, and you peel it just like you would almost a melon, right? You just go around. So I just wanted to show a little bit of that so you understand how it gets peeled. sometimes you can use a actual, a peeler, but it's sometimes too tough. Okay. And for all of you that are like saying, I don't even want to do that, I don't even want to buy a squash, you could buy it already cut up in the store,
True.
just cubes. I see it all the time where they have done it for you. I don't know, some prep person's in the back peeling and cubing, or comes to the store already in plastic wrap, already cubed. So that's one way that you can get it fresh, just already cut, and then you don't have to do any of this work. Or you
Mhm.
could buy it frozen, and
It's
that
true.
too is a good way of getting it done.
Two questions. How
Yes.
much ginger do you recommend putting in food? I know if you put too much, it can be quite irritating to the lungs and the stomach, but in general, what
I
would
think
you?
a good inch, 1 inch is normally about the amount if you're making a dressing or you're
Mhm.
making a soup. Sometimes it requires a little more, but when I think about it, a recipe almost always refers to 1 inch.
Yeah, I
So,
was thinking the
and
same.
I think that's about a tablespoon,
Exactly.
about.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna say.
that's my answer to that.
And
you
then
know.
the other thing is, I'm guessing you'll say yes, but can one substitute apples for pears?
Oh, for sure, for sure. And the danger with this soup is that it can be tending to be a little bit sweet, right? So the ginger helps like kind of gives it an edge of not making it taste too sweet, but when you're eating butternut squash, it's you can't avoid having it sweet. So yeah.
Very good.
So this is cooking. I've put a lid on it. I'm going to try to get it to boil. And all we ultimately have to do, Wendy, is let it cook a little more. It's already cooked a lot. Got a jump start on it. And we need it to boil. And then we're going to blend it so that it's really velvety and really smooth. And then we're going to just serve it up. But I'm going to move all the different squashes away from the counter here. I don't know. It's so beautiful. If you saw, I have big, gigantic. I got gifted. I just made a patio in my house, and someone gifted me big pumpkins, the kind that have pimples all over them and have beautiful shapes and things. And I love coming home to these pumpkins. It's such a nice thing. So does anybody have questions about the soup? I feel like we've just answered a lot of things, but does anyone have soup questions?
No questions, but just some fun comments about one participant who boils a lot of ginger all at once and freezes it and then has it ready for tea, and also mentioned that ginger and carrots makes those delicious that delicious orange colored salad dressings that are so tasty in the Japanese restaurants. And
Oh,
I'm just
yes.
loving the whole use of ginger. It's really one of my favorite um, spices.
I love that idea with the carrots and the ginger and
Yep, right.
I mean, whether you're roasting, you could just roast carrots and ginger, right?
Yeah.
But to puree it and make a dressing, that's delicious too. I have a
It's
red ginger dressing recipe. It reminds me that I should use it.
yep.
I get in a rut, Wendy, where I like get on a bandwagon of one kind of dressing, and I'm obsessed with it, like for days and weeks.
What's
So
your current obsession?
this one that I love, and I've taught it to you and many people actually. It's just tahini. It's
Right.
just tahini and lemon and soy, a little tamari, I mean, and ginger and water. It's like everything that's heavenly. It just makes this dressing that can go on everything that I make. So I get where I need to be reminded that there are other dressings in the world. So there's a lot of other dressings,
I
and
love
you
that
don't have to get
texture.
into a rut.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next thing, and I'm quite excited about this. I'm going to move some of these things, and this next recipe doesn't even need a recipe. In fact, I wrote it down just so you would know what to get as an ingredient list. My friend, this salad was inspired by my very good friend who just came here from California to visit me. And she always loves this salad. And we made it for a little party that we had. And I really thought, well, this is just the most delicious, simple salad that let's talk about making that for and sharing it with everyone else. So to Valeria, this is her salad, very simple, made with the persimmon. Now, Jim has an amazing photograph that Valeria sent me after she left here. And those are persimmons in her market at the grocery store in Berkeley, California. And it's incredible. Those are the kind of persimmon that we want to use. And they're called fuyu. Fuyu. Okay, there are two kinds, and I'm going to show you both of them right now. There are two kinds of persimmons. There's the kind that is flat and squatty, like a tomato. Okay, that's the kind we want to use. And there's this other kind that is more like an acorn squash that can kind of have an astringent taste to it. And this kind, you very much want to, the hachaya. I don't know how good my Japanese is, but this kind that's shaped like an acorn, you want it to be very ripe before you eat this, like super ripe. Where the fuyu, it's okay. You're going to get them from the store and they're going to be hard as a rock. And sometimes you have to leave them sit on your counter for at least a week. That does happen. But there are some times when they're ripe already in the store. You don't want it too ripe and you don't want it too, you want it kind of like the pear that we just sliced. It's firm, yet it's ripe. So I'm calling this salad a carpaccio salad because carpaccio often refers to sliced thin. Often it's beef or fish, but there is carpaccio that is for vegetables, thinly sliced vegetables, and thinly sliced fruit. So I'm going to get, maybe this knife is going to be good enough. We'll see. And I've washed these and they're very ripe. I just want to show you they're incredibly ripe. I kind of wish they weren't as ripe as this, but that's okay. They're still going to work. And what we're going to carefully do is we're going to just slice them very thin. That's all we're going to do. Okay. And it's just like slicing a tomato, only you want it to be very thin. And these are so ripe. They are literally, they have a kind of oozing of this kind of gel that is, it makes them a little slippery. Okay. Can you see? And they have beautiful like star shape in the middle.
Beautiful.
And we're just slicing it as thinly as possible. And again, you could make this salad for one person, just you, on a tiny little plate, or you could make it for 10 people on a big platter. So I'm just going to show you on a small, relatively smallish plate. We'll probably only use 3 because it's just going to be me here eating this. And this salad, actually, I had it made and it can stay in the refrigerator for a couple of days, actually. It's pretty fresh. This one didn't slice so nice, but I'm going to put it there. It's still going to go onto the thing. And then any of the extra is going to just go into the compost there. And I'm going to feel, again, mine are pretty ripe. But we're just going to lay these in a beautiful manner as thinly sliced as possible. Okay, if you had a mandolin, I don't know if they could slice on a mandolin. Possible that they could slice very nicely. And we're just overlapping, right? We're just making kind of like if we were making a tart, right? Where you overlap everything and it's going to go in a circle. And you're just trying to make it very beautiful. That's all you're trying to do. And
can you pull the plate a little closer to you so we can
yes,
see the
yes,
circle?
I will. I will. And it really helps if you didn't, I didn't even see this label. Here, let me move this water because it's in the way. Okay, and I'm gonna move things a little over and we're gonna move it closer like
Beautiful.
that.
Yeah, now we
How's
can
that,
see the
Wendy? Good?
overlapping.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
And look, because mine is so ripe, it's kind of collapsing on itself. It would be like if you had a tomato that wasn't firm. That's what's happening there. So again, when I bought these a few days ago, I kind of knew that they were gonna be a little ripe. I wish they weren't as ripe as this, but they're very delicious. It's just that what's happening is they're hard to cut when they're very, very ripe.
A
Now,
few a few questions while you're
yes.
shooting. Do you peel the persimmon?
No, I don't. I'm not, is the answer.
And this is going to jump back a bit, but can you cook the squash with its skin for the soup and then puree it?
Yes, I did say that. I
Mm-hmm.
did say that, and I'll just explain it again. If you were to do that, you would just want to, in fact, I'm going to do that with my rigid squash that I don't want to peel. I'm just going to put a little juice inside, and I'm going to turn it upside down so that so when it's upside down, meaning that the meaty part is going to be like this
Great.
on a piece of parchment paper, and then I'm going to cut it, cook it. I would like to prick it with a fork. That will help a little bit. And then I'm just going to cook it, and then you could scrape it out. And
But if
that's
you
a
don't,
bit.
if you don't scrape it, could you puree with the skin on, or
No, not that skin. You would definitely want to, you would definitely want to peel it.
exactly? So just so you know, Katie, there are some squashes you can eat the skin, like delicata
Delicata.
with the skin, but other squashes, I think the skin is either too bitter or too hard. So you may have
Correct.
to Google which ones you can eat and which ones are better to
And
just.
to my mind, Wendy, I mean, I think it's a little bit like a sweet potato. Where some people like the skin, some people don't,
Right.
and you probably, like you said, it's probably a good idea to Google it and figure it out. And you probably could eat more of the skin than you realize. But it's a very tough thing usually, and I don't think it's so enjoyable.
I would agree.
That's
Also,
my thinking.
just for either now or when you have a minute in the demo, you've had a request for the tahini dressing recipe, which I
Oh,
can write in the chat as you're talking.
okay. Well, just
If you don't
remind
have
me
it
at the
now.
end, and I'll just say it out loud to you.
Yep,
Okay?
sounds good.
Just because it's just a out loud thing, and we've done it so many times before, so I can't really demo it 100 times.
That's
But
fine.
this soup is cooking like crazy. I say this every time. It's just like when the soup is on the stove and I walk away from it, it doesn't make me nervous because I'm walking away. But because I'm standing here and it's boiling like crazy, I'm practically on top of it and it's very uncomfortable. um,
Understood.
okay, so the next thing we're going to do, so we sliced all these. They're very, very ripe, but they're, like I said, I think it'd be better if they weren't so very, very ripe. They would have sliced much nicer, but they're beautiful nonetheless. It's all okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a few cilantro leaves, not too many, okay? And we're literally just going to tear them up, not even chop them, okay? And we're just going to, they're here for flavor, but they're also here for like a little bit of decoration, okay? And I know you have to be quiet. You cannot interrupt during the demo. You cannot. Isla is being very talkative right now. I don't know what she wants. Probably wants to eat or something. I don't know, something important. But I tell her I don't speak dog very much. So, okay, you have to be quiet. Okay, so that is just sprinkling like that. Okay, everybody. Okay, I didn't even take a knife to the cilantro. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the pomegranate, another winter fruit. So we've got two winter fruits here. And this fruit has how many seeds? Does anybody even know how many seeds? um, I looked it up, and they say that it's anywhere from 200 seeds to 1,400 seeds. That's like a crazy amount of seeds. Um, and I read in Armenian culture that they think if you eat one little seed a day, they think that there are 300. There's enough in here for a whole year to eat one seed a day, which is interesting. That means you'd have 365 seeds in a pomegranate. And I do know in Judaism that they say that there are 613 seeds in a pomegranate, because those seeds are representing the 600 commandments, the 613 commandments, and eating a pomegranate is righteous. But Wendy, you and I know that it's full of antioxidants and that it's good for us. And it's,
Antiviral, antioxidants, and antibacterial, I think.
yeah.
I was just reading about it actually in Dr. Furman's book, for those of you who may be interested. It was actually kind of interesting because pomegranates have been around for thousands of years, and it says all over the world, pomegranate seeds have been used as medicine because they have such healing properties. More recently, pomegranates have been shown in laboratory tests to have antiviral, antibacterial, and antioxidant properties. And by the way, so do persimmons, high in vitamin A, high in vitamin C, and antioxidants. There you go.
Antioxidants, just where we started. Antioxidants.
Exactly.
So all I've done, again, I know that you can't see this. I'm going to pull it up here. So if you really need a lesson on how to take the seeds out of a pomegranate, you can honestly look it up. I usually take off the top and the bottom, this part, and then I find here, I can roughly show you, but we're not going to do it, okay? Because we have to move on, and it does take time, okay? But I take off the top and the bottom, and then I try to find, this one's not showing me so much at the moment, where the segments, where the sections are. And often you can see that just by having taken off the top. But you can just crack it open, and you want to do this always in a deep bowl, because there's something about the pomegranate that sometimes the juice wants to squirt or end up on the counter. So it's good to actually, when you're taking these little areoles out of their little sections, that you really want to be able to almost do it in a deep bowl. And you want to, the white part is the part you get rid of. It's kind of, I'll call it papery, and it kind of protects all of them. And there you just open it. It's like I don't know, I find it to be quite of a magical fruit. And it's very meditative to actually clean it, I find. And if you get a little bit of the paper in your bowl, you can either pick it out by hand, or you could just put water in your bowl, literally water into your bowl, and these little white papers, the little sections, just float to the top, and then it's much easier than fishing around for the paper. Okay, but we need so few. I say we need a quarter cup. We're just literally using the pomegranates to decorate, okay, and for taste. So we're going to put those on the top just like that, and just, it's so festive. And then I cut a lime in half, and we're just going to squeeze the lime over the whole salad. Okay, and that is it. We are done with this salad. There is no more work to this salad. Okay, I can't explain that anything could be as simple as this, but it is super, super simple. And do we need salt? No. Do we need pepper? No. Do we need anything? No. We don't need anything. I do say in the recipe that if you really must, You could put a few chili flakes on if you wanted. You could put a few pistachios if you wanted. And you could put a few pumpkin seeds if you wanted. But honestly, the simplicity of this salad is it has 3 ingredients. It has the persimmon, it has the pomegranate, has a few leaves of cilantro, and the lime juice. So I guess that's 4. I said 3, but that's 4 ingredients. And this is it. Done. Okay, who would not be impressed with that if you walked into a dinner bringing this salad? Okay, and it will be delicious. Does anyone have any other questions about that?
None about that.
Okay, so we can move on to our very last thing. We still have to puree our soup. It's cooking. I kind of got it to calm down a little bit, which is good. And we're going to make this, what I'm calling a silken tofu herb dip. Usually a lot of the dips that I show you are bean based, but these are actually not bean based. This is going to be a tofu base. And there is just very similar to what I want to say, very similar to the salad that we made. There's a lot of leeway in to where you can take your own liberties. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how I made it, but I'm also going to say to you, you can do a lot of things what you want to do. Okay, I just need to rinse this cutting board. I want it to be the knife clean and everything. But you can have a lot of liberties with this herb dip. And I served it at a party with vegetables on the side. So I made a crudité. And if you don't know what a crudité is, it's basically just vegetables that you're going to dip into the dip, right? So it could be broccoli, carrots, celery, radishes, red peppers, any kind of vegetable will be delicious in this dip. But I also encourage you to use the dip if you desire as a spread on a wrap. You could use it. You could also use it on a sandwich. I've been eating this very good crusty bread with the dip as a spread on a sandwich, and then I've been layering it with some tomatoes and some sprouts, some pea sprouts. So you can take your own liberties, is what I'm saying, with this dip. And the last thing that I'm going to say is this dip could also potentially go onto pasta. And you're thinking, well, how could that be? How could you do it? Well, it's tofu based with lots of herbs and onions and flavorings. And if you thinned it out with a little more lemon juice, you could definitely make it into a pasta sauce. Okay, so we're going to learn right now how to make this. I'm going to put the recipe here so I don't, and it's super, super simple. Okay, so we're going to use the food processor to process this. And we're going to start with some silken tofu. Now you can buy the silken tofu in the refrigerated section of your store, and you don't need a full pound. Okay, I suggest that you use this brand called Morinu. I'm all the time buying this in the store, always, and just putting it's shelf stabilized. It doesn't need the refrigerator, and I buy it for salad dressings, desserts, and all sorts of cream sauces. So I'm always stockpiling it in the pantry. So this is just something that I just happen to have. The Morinu is a brand. When you get into the aisle of the store, you'll see it. It's often displayed, and they'll have 6 kinds. And you'll look at all of them, and it all says silken tofu, but some of it says firm, some of it says extra firm. And the crazy thing is, I've never been able to quite figure out the difference between any of them. They're all different colored labels. This one actually is firm. The one that I used in the past has said soft, but it's all silken. So I really think you'll be okay with any of them. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Because whatever I have in the pantry is what I'm using. I almost never, I just buy a bunch of them and I just store them in the pantry. I'm getting a colander because there is some liquid in here, not a lot. This isn't the kind of tofu that you want to press, right? It's just the kind that is super silky and super soft. And I'm just draining it a little bit and it's just going to get plopped right into here, literally like that. No, nothing, I'm not even bothering to cut it up. Okay, so then we need the things that are going in here, and I have them all over here. Guess I need to move things closer. We need to have we need one garlic clove. And my garlic cloves, these are all garlics that I have from the garden. Some of them were small, some of them were big, but I'm trying to use them all. Trying not to be discriminatory. So sometimes if it says one clove of garlic, I just smash 3 of them, okay, because they're teeny, teeny, teeny. And I'm just trying to make like 3 teeny, teeny ones equal like 1 big one. Okay, so if you're wondering what's going on here, all this can just go into the compost or into stock, these little paper shells. So that's our garlic. That's going to equal 1. I did 3 little ones. Okay. I hope I have enough garlic that I grew. I've already planted the garlic for next season. Gets planted in November and it comes out of the ground in July. It's a long sleeping process of it growing. So the next thing we need is 1/3 cup of parsley and 1/3 cup of dill and 1/3 cup of scallions or chives. So let's get out our 1/3 measuring cup. And the reason I kind of made this up was because I have a lot of these things that are left. So left over, I have parsley from the garden, and I'm a little bit having overwhelmed with how much I have. So I'm just trying to use this stuff up. So here's 1/3 cup of parsley. Okay, then we need tops, or we either need chives or scallions. So chives you buy in a little tiny bunch, and they are usually skinny, long and skinny. I'm sure you know what chives are. But I have all these onions that I grew, and they have big, big tops. So this was really actually my motivation to make this dip, was to use all the tops, because I let some of the onions grow really tall. They were like, I don't know, 2 feet tall. And I end up with this using for my broth. But recently I thought, God, I have so much. I just really should make something with the tops. So I'm not using any of the bottom, and I'm just chopping the green tops. Again, you could use the whole scallion if you want, or you could just buy the chives, either one. Again, I'm telling you, you have a lot of liberty here. This is just a lot, you have a lot of liberty. And here I'm filling this 1/3 cup, packing it up. I guess I might as well almost cut it all. I might as well just use it all. Let's just, I don't know, hope it's not going to be too oniony, but there's just a little bit left over. So I'm just going to put this all in here. Okay. And then the next thing we need is dill. Now I have so much dill drying, believe it or not. I have it all hanging like this. Look, I have like 4 of these, and it's full of dill. And again, I had to cut it out of the garden before it started to freeze. And we need to have, I would encourage you to buy the fresh dill, because this is very, very strong. Although I have been drying this, right, and it's pretty fresh. And it's super strong. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to cut off this, and I'm going to make a third of a cup. Okay, you're going to think that's a lot, but it is. We need a lot of herb to make it really delicious. Okay, and I'm going to fill that up, and I'm going to be so happy that I have used up almost a whole bunch already. Because how much dill? I mean, it's good to have dill, fresh dill, but just smelling this, Wendy, it is just as if I picked it yesterday, and it's been in my closet hanging for like 3 weeks already. So,
I love
um,
dill. It's so fragrant and it really can make a dish.
and you know, Wendy, something when I'm here in New Mexico where I
Mm.
shop, all the places, they only have dill in a tiny little plastic package. And I miss the Fairway or anywhere where you can buy the big bunch,
Yeah.
and I used to split it with a friend. I'd say, here. And so, what I suggest is if you are buying that big bunch and you're like letting half of it like wilt and get moldy and just you've only used a little bit of it, maybe take half of it and say, this is the half I'm going to eat. And I'm
Right.
going to cut up and I'm going to put it in all the things that I'm making, whatever it is you're making. And then the other half you could tie up like I did with a string, hang it upside down, and just dry the rest.
It's
So
true. Do you ever leave it in the refrigerator in a jar with water?
I do, but Wendy, I haven't had a bunch in so long, like
Yeah.
I'm talking about. Like literally, I get like 4 fronds in a plastic box.
Yeah.
And so I dream of this big, gigantic bunch. And I think you can even wrap it in a little wet paper towel, not soaking wet, and put it in
Mhm.
a bag. But it ultimately ends up getting rotten. Like
Yeah.
if you forget, it just does. So I'm just suggesting either split the bunch with a friend
Yeah.
or just take what you think you're going to use and then hang the rest of it, tie it up with a string and hang it upside down.
Super. Carol, while
Okay.
I have your attention, I'm so sorry. What was the name again of the shelf-stable tofu? And do
Oh,
you have
it's
the
called,
box?
I have it in the recipe, but it's Mori New. So M as in Mary, I, Mori, and then hyphen NU. and
Great.
it's and it's silken tofu. And as I explained, there are like 6 packages of different red, blue, red, green, like and you're looking at them. Which one do I want? Always, I'm overwhelmed. I read every label of which one. Some says soft, some says made for dips and dessert. They're all silken. They're all fine. Doesn't matter. Just get a bunch and put it in your cabinet
Yeah,
because it's shelf stable. It's good for an emergency and it's good for so many things.
super.
So, okay, so let's move on so I don't forget what we're doing. Did all our fresh herbs. Now we're going to do our season, okay? And we're okay, Wendy, I guess on time. I'm putting a half a teaspoon of cumin and I'm putting a half a teaspoon of onion powder. Okay, and along with some mustard. I kind of made all of this up and I hope it was good when I did it. And there's a part that I'm almost forgetting, but I'm going to bring it close by. And then we need 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. And I have to ask Carol Klanowski for a favor because I don't look at the chat box. And if you could write it down, Wendy, because I still have the West Bray stone ground no salt mustard. But Carol knows of the other brand. There's another brand that she found that is no salt because West Bray isn't making this kind anymore. So I asked if she can. I'm positive it was her. I could be wrong, but we're putting in 1 teaspoon of this no salt Dijon. Okay. And then we are going to add 1 teaspoon of any kind of vinegar. Okay. We just did the Dijon that is a little spicy. I'm going to use a brown rice vinegar. You could use apple cider vinegar. You can use white vinegar, but 1 teaspoon of brown rice vinegar is going to go in there. And then we need some zest and we need 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So 2 tablespoons of lemon juice is approximately a half of a lemon. And I already have one open. So I'm going to definitely just squeeze this in here. We'll maybe have to add more. This lemon has been on my counter for like days and it's hard as a rock. And I just saw 2 pits go from the machine. Oh no, it's not pits at all. It's okay. I thought it was pits, but it's the mustard. Okay, so that is the lemon. And I added 1 tablespoon of cashews to this recipe. And I really want to say, I think it's optional. I did it because I thought that it would make the dip a little tiny bit richer and more flavorful. Okay, so let's do that. So let's get this in here. So I have 1 tablespoon of cashews that I soaked in hot water, and you need to soak them for anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, and they really blow up and they puff up. Okay, and I didn't write down when I made this that I put nutritional yeast in it, but I feel like I would have put nutritional yeast in it, but it's not in my recipe, so I must have skipped over it. I must have not done it, but it's definitely something you could add. And once I taste this and realize that I didn't put it in the recipe, then I'll for certain know. As I'm turning around, we must puree the soup any moment. I'm gonna just get some lemon zest off this 1 lemon that I have here. It's already been zested a little bit. We don't need too much. But if I were to put the nutritional yeast in, I probably would just put like a tablespoon. I took it out. It's here on the counter. So I don't know. Sometimes I write recipes down and I might forget that I've put something in. But we're going to taste it and we'll make an amendment in case we need to add it.
Also, Carol, you got a response from Carol.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Carol, it's Organicville, no added salt, stone ground mustard.
So how
So
am I going to remember that? I have to write it down.
I'll send it to you.
You'll just have to send it to me so I know in the future, because I kind of had a bunch of the mustard on the shelf, and I eventually, this is the last one I have. So
Super. And she gets it at Whole Foods. So
okay, well, that's really good to know. I have to go an hour and 20 minutes to a Whole Food, but I could always order it online. So that's a good thing. So I've done everything that I'm supposed to according to this recipe. And I'm wondering if it needs the nutritional yeast, but we're going to puree it all right now. It's going to be noisy for just 1 minute. Now, it's really important to scrape down the sides when you're doing this, okay? And it's already looking delicious. I'm not going to taste it quite yet. I want it to really get blended up. And we'll taste it now. And it's it looks delicious already. I suggest in the recipe, you could serve this immediately, but I suggest you put it in the fridge in a bowl for like a half an hour, because it makes the flavors melt and it gets a little harder than what you see in the processor here. It's delicious. It's really delicious. And honestly, I might have, I don't know, I'm just tempted to put in 1 tablespoon of the nutritional yeast. It is definitely not in the recipe. And this is, but I must have intuitively thought we needed it because I took it out today. And I don't know. And I'm using this kind that Wendy and I both use, and it's called SARI, S-A-R-I. and it's nutritional yeast. This is not to be confused with baker's yeast, right? That rises bread. This is nutritional yeast, and something I never used before when I in my previous life when I wasn't eating, but when I missed the flavor of cheese, this is a really good substitute and you use it in many different recipes, and you don't often need a lot because pretty strong in flavor, but you want to get a clean nutritional yeast. If you're buying it out of bulk section in a store, I just have been warned. I've been told that sometimes that has fillers. And when I first started using it, Wendy had recommended to me that she was using Dr. Furman's nutritional yeast. And then we learned about this one, and I love it. This is a really good brand. And I buy a gigantic bag, and it stays pretty well on the shelf. So, and I slowly go through it. So that is about nutritional yeast. And let's just get this blended. And it's done. So really what I would do is put it in a bowl and then put it right into the refrigerator. Let's just get a nice bowl for it. Gonna get this bowl here. And again, you could serve it, surrounded by vegetables. I did take out a bunch of vegetables like radicchio and carrots. I was gonna make a nice little platter for you, but we don't have time to plate it up like that. But you do know about crudités. I'm sure many of you have had to make vegetable platters in your lifetime, hopefully. And this is, and let's just taste it with the, yes, I think the nutritional yeast, 1 tablespoon is very nice. So you might want to write that down as an optional choice. But you do have the cashews, the 1 tablespoon of cashews, and that also adds a certain richness to it, and also can be very cheesy, like cashews are a good substitute for cheesy flavor as well in our world. So that is our green, beautiful dip there. We can decorate it with a few cuttings. Let's just get the scissors back out. I just cut a few little, just to sprinkle it there with the dill, although I just put it there. You have to wait. I have my little girl, and many of you know who she is, and she's just sitting here crying a little bit at my feet. And she wants me to play with her. That's what she wants, I think. So I'm just trying to get this all cleaned up, and we're going to puree the soup, and we're going to plate the soup. So Wendy, I'm going to puree the soup. You're not going to be able to speak while I puree, but as soon as I get done, technically, when I'm done, you can go over the ending credits, and then we'll finish with plating the soup, okay?
That sounds great. And when you finish with the soup, I've got a few questions for you.
Okay, so let me just make a few minutes of noise.
All good.
You could put this in the course, but I'm trying not to pour the hot soup into the blender, so I'm just using the immersion blender. And it's going to be delicious. I can already tell. And you want it to be velvety smooth. And you could season it with a little bit of black pepper if you want. Probably won't need very much. It's got the ginger. Again, everything today is about simplicity. Oh my gosh, it's almost done.
While Carol's doing that, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but these are all, of course, great dishes that you can bring as sides if you're invited to Thanksgiving, or you can use them for your own Thanksgiving meals. We've done entree recipes in the past. So if anyone's interested in Thanksgiving recipes, you can look and go on the Plant Powered Metro New York YouTube channel and look up November cooking class from 2024 or 23, or maybe, earlier. We've been doing this for 5 years. So you can probably find entree recipes for Thanksgiving. And these are more the sides, the salads, and then the herb dressing or the herb dip is super versatile. You can use it on vegetables, or as Carole was saying, on pasta or all kinds of things. So this is a Thanksgiving offering for those who might be interested. And see how.
And Wendy, if they wanted just like what you said, you can go on to Plant Powered Metro YouTube channel, and at the top there's playlists. So you can
Right.
click the playlist,
Correct.
find Chef Carole, and then every show that we've ever done is there. And you could just literally click to all the Novembers for the last 5 years, because
Exactly.
I've done a lot of classic Thanksgiving foods that I really didn't want to repeat myself today in doing. And I just thought these are all things that are versatile, right?
Absolutely. While you're plating, two quick questions. For someone who doesn't like dill, what are any of the other herbs you might
You could do
recommend?
cilantro, but most people don't like cilantro. There's a lot of people that don't like cilantro. Think about this as a herb thing. So you could use basil if you wanted. You
Right.
could use
Parsley.
cilantro if you want. But just make sure everything you use is fresh,
Right.
nothing dried. My dill is semi-fresh, semi-dried. It's still not really dried out.
Hmm. Basil would be really pungent and fragrant in the same way that dill is. Something softer could be parsley. And then if you like cilantro, or you can also use a combination of all of them, I think. So
So the way that I would serve
forgiving.
this soup, Wendy, is I would just literally, I mean, you can do however, this soup would look great with the pomegranates,
Yeah,
right?
beautiful.
Because of the red on top of the orange, right? But
Mhm.
the way that I sometimes do it is, I'm just going to show you, I have a little bit of that almond, what do you call it? The almond, what is this? Almond yogurt,
Oh,
almond milk and soy yogurt by Kite Hill. And I like just literally putting in like a tiny dollop, right? So it looks like sour cream, right? And sometimes I even thin it out and make a little pattern, but we're doing a little different thing today. And then I like putting remember early in the demo, we made our caramelized pear. So I like showing that there's a pear in it. And then you want the littlest amount if you can do it, and do it really little, because you just want to make a swirl on the top of balsamic vinegar, just for decoration. Okay, not the flavor. You're not looking, the flavor is going to enhance the squash too, but literally you just want to have some decoration. I don't want to
it just
tilt it.
looks beautiful. Really,
But you
really
see,
beautiful.
you just want your presentation to be looking exquisite and like someone's ready to sit down and eat it. And
Absolutely.
and you certainly could serve your dip into a radicchio like leaf or a salad leaf. And I do think surrounding it by vegetables is a lovely way
It's
to
great.
take your
Show
dip.
us the pomegranate salad again and the herb dip, because it's so
Okay.
beautiful how you have that plated. And then, yeah, the dip could be a sauce or a dip, and
And it's delicious on bread, Wendy. I've been eating it on bread.
delicious.
You could make a wrap, when you have a big wrap and then you spread it and then you make like a salad inside, which
Cool.
we've done before, where you just put lettuce and sliced carrots and cucumbers and then you roll it up. So
Right.
that would be delicious.
Here's
This
another
herb thing.
question. If someone does not like tofu, would you substitute cannellini bean?
Yes, I think so.
Tortellini
It would
beans?
just, yes.
And
I
what
spec-
about what would you do? Because I've seen this once before in a recipe. I've never done it, but the substitute I think is like cauliflower or cooked cauliflower with cashews.
Good
Would
idea.
that be
Good idea. I
creamy
think it
enough
would be
for
delicious.
the dress the dip?
Yeah, I think it would be delicious.
Okay,
I
so
think
those
it would
could
be
be
delicious.
substitutes, cannellini beans or possibly cauliflower and then cashews cooked. Let me just see if there's any other
Can
questions,
I just
Carol.
try to make something, Wendy? Because I'm always pushing beans on everyone. You know, that's like who I'm all the time. So I specifically made it with tofu so that I wouldn't be making another bean something just to give us a break. Just to give us a break.
That's awesome. And beans we know are the longevity food, so keep
And
them
it's our
coming.
fiber.
So
It's
is
our
tofu.
fiber.
Yep. Okay. That's it pretty much for the
Enjoy,
show.
Ina.
Hi, Isla. A couple of things just to remind everyone. One, Carol, actually, if you want to pipe in, I put your dill tahini recipe in the chat, but if you want to add in a minute, add your just off the cuff tahini recipe.
Okay.
I can type it in, but give me a moment just to remind everyone, please, please, please join us for Plantathon. It's going to be online December 1st until December 8th. We will generally start the evening. It's an online show on around 7:30. It might go an hour, it might go longer. We are still finalizing the guests, but we have two hot shots in my mind. Chef AJ is going to be on the show December 1st, and Dr. Will Bulsiewicz will be on the show December 8th. Other guests are being lined up even as we speak. Our hosts will be James Spellos, Liana Levine Reisner, and Ifra Ruiz all from Plant Powered Metro New York. There'll be a Spanish speaking show on that Wednesday. I think it's December 3rd. And please, please, please come and join us. It is our fundraising event, end of the year fundraising event. So any of you who would like to donate, I think the donate button may even be available right now. But if you want to wait till December, of course, that's fine. Or to Giving Tuesday, that's fine. But please be generous. We host a number of events, live events all over New York, and we're very active in numerous communities in East Brooklyn, in senior centers, in with Emblem Health in the Bronx. We're doing a special diabetes program live in the Bronx. We have live events, meetup events in the New York City area, in Astoria. We're doing one in Port Jefferson, Long Island. Please go to the events page and you can see everything that we're up to. And since many of you are not in New York City, in order to keep a lot of our online programs going, they do cost us some money. And so please feel free to donate and donate for our mission, if so we can keep the community and keep all the connections going. You may have heard me say at the top of the show, it's the connections, it's the community that makes all this magical and keeps us reconnected or connected with our food, with nature, with the planet, with so many things that are so important right now. Hope you enjoyed the show and hope to see you again. Carol, any last words?
My last words are the dressing. I just say it out loud, and
Mhm.
hopefully that people can grab it. It's 1/4 cup of tahini and 1/4 cup of water, and I just put those in a jar, and then it's 1 tablespoon of tamari, which is the low salt tamari, and then 1 tablespoon of grated ginger, and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and I literally just put it in a jar and shake it all up. And I love it on everything.
Great.
Literally everything. And I wish everyone happy Thanksgiving. And we will see you in December. And for the Planathon, that's very important to all of us that you show up and participate. And as Wendy said, it's about community and about support. And honestly, I couldn't have done it without the support when I transitioned. You know, it was really, really important. And I'm here in New Mexico, and I miss that support. So I'm still have a foot in New York. And thank you so much, both of you, Jim and Wendy, for participating. And we'll see you in a few weeks.
See you in a
Down, step right in, Carol's Kitchen where we begin. See what's cooking, something new, plant-based power just for you.